Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Azul. A warm welcome from Beerhead. And thank you so much for giving your valuable time to us and today for today's talk show, and where we will understand about your expertise. I'll give a short introduction about Mr. Azam, what he is into, and then probably we'll take up some questions with him and learn from his all the expertise that he has. So Mr. Azam is, a founder of Innatepro company, and he's a senior visiting faculty to and curriculum consultant to NIFT, and he is president with Startup Innovation Cells in UP. And Mr. Azam holds a vast experience of 35 years, and in that he has addressed various corporates, global corporates also, and his major engagements have been with Interglobe, Galileo, United Airlines, Arvind, and NIFT. And of course, with his Innatepro, he's associated with different schools where he is running his programs on communication, and of course about innate behavior also. And he also is, his expertise is mainly in innate behavior, communication, and personality enhancement, and multi-dimensional assessments and counseling. So we would like to understand today with Mr. Azam what is, he means by innate behavior. That sounds very interesting, and let's, explore more today. What is this innate behavior? Over to you, Mr. Azam. What would you like to add up to innate behavior?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Bhavna. It's always a pleasure to speak to you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Well, a little correction. I've completed 37 years of professional life.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. So coming back to your question, what do you mean by innate behavior? See, normally every human being should have innate behavior as it is, how we react, how we interact, how we respond to things. Normally it should be what we are born with, it's something which is our own behavior. And that is what we call innate behavior. But what has been happening in the world today? There's so much of conditioning happening because there's a way society belief system works. And there's a way, there are set parameters that this is what is acceptable in the society, and this is how you need to behave, or this is how you need to respond or greet somebody, or this is how you need to look at things or perceive things. So everything is so conditioned that somewhere how we are naturally, that gets onto the back, on a back seat. And the forefront is taken up by the society conditioning. And in society conditioning, I would include how the parents condition the child, or how the kind of parenting that happens, the school environment, how the school system works, and how the society system works. So all these parameters somewhere take over somebody's belief system, and what we were born to be, that gets lost, and we become a large part, or a part of the large society where everybody is made to believe, made to function in a prescribed manner, what is acceptable. And all of us may not have that natural inclination, but because the society works that way, we all follow that path. So the innate behavior is your natural instinct. And believe me, each one of us is born with our own natural instinct, our natural self, because we are not a copy of anyone.
Yes.
We are born an original, but unfortunately, like I was talking before, the society converts us into carbon copies of how people are supposed to be in the environment. And that is what takes us away from excelling in life or being happy in life. So in a nutshell, this is
I
what
was recently
is
talking
about.
to someone about the same thing, and they said, it's of course the one thing is what you are born with, because every one of us is born with intelligences, and we all are unique, and we have unique intelligences. So that you are born with these qualities, you are already born with, and but how do we know about it? What are the qualities we are born with? Right? We are born, but very few individuals, I would say, would know ki, okay, I have this quality and I can enhance on it, or how can I take it forward. Because mostly people are not connected with themselves, so they don't know what innate qualities they have. Like you said, yeah, society, they go as per their society norms, and they become copycat. So how can we get in touch with our own innate qualities that we have?
All right, wonderful question, or wonderful point raised by you, Bhavna, because it is very important that at an early stage of our lives, we should connect with our innates. Because once we know what are our high areas, what high areas or high capability I'm born with, or high capacity I'm born with, I can actually focus my nurture, I can focus my conditioning, I can focus my decisions that, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to follow, this is what I want to practice,
Mhm.
and life becomes so easy. The simplest form, there are many aspects to it. How do we find it out?
Mhm.
See, the first thing that I would suggest on a larger scale is try and connect with what gives you happiness. First point is whatever will make you happy, and the stress of doing that is not there, because anything that you are doing and it is in not in sync with your innate, there will be resistance and that will stress you out. And a lot of us follow path, practice professions, or learn things which actually we are doing it because everybody is doing it, so I also
Mhm.
should do it, I want to be part of the society. Now,
Mhm.
if we start focusing on that, if I am doing this, is it easy for me, or am I enjoying doing it, and does it stress me or does it give me happiness? That's the basic level of understanding that, if you're doing something which is in sync with your innate. Number
Mhm.
two, there are various now with the advancement in technology, there are various analysis and assessments available where you can actually find out. All of us know about aptitude tests, which works out our
Yeah.
on our inclination. But
Right.
there's something like, we also develop aptitude tests, but there is an aspect of conditioning in aptitude, because aptitude tests are normally done through a feedback system. So
Right.
when you're doing a feedback system, normally a person would always answer thinking from a point of view that my answer would get me what result, because anybody who's been through any psychometric test would know how,
Mhm.
that, what answer will lead to what. So the answers become not what I am, but
Mhm.
what my aspirations are.
Right.
So if they have an aspiration to do something, or they are impressed by somebody who's doing that, their answers would get conditioned by that. That is why you may not actually get the reality.
The
There
correct
is another.
answers, probably, you mean to
Absolutely,
say.
absolutely.
And they might
Now
be
there is
doing
another
it
test.
because of peer pressure also. They like some
True,
their friends
true.
doing it, and they say, oh, he's doing it, so I can also be part of it, I can also do it. And
Yeah,
later on they
what
might
happens,
struggle.
Bhavna? Absolutely. What happens, Bhavna? Most of the time, we are uh, driven by others.
Hmm.
If I do this, everybody will be happy. If I
Will be
do this,
happy.
I get a like on my social media. If I do this,
Yeah.
people will call me and say, "Oh, you're doing so good." So most of the time, our decisions are driven
Hmm.
by what somebody else would say about it, or how they would perceive me. So
Hmm.
that is why I mentioned earlier that, most of these feedback systems may not get you the accuracy in who you are. So
Right.
there's another analysis which is available, which I have been working on. There's a science called dermatoglyphics. Now
Mhm.
there are researchers of over 200 years on
Oh, wow.
dermatoglyphics
Wow.
from the Western scientists. And with my own research follow-ups, I followed up the linkage, and it connects to our very own Indian scriptures, which are compiled 5,000 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Samudrika Shastra, written by Agastya Rishi, Samudrik Rishi, also he is also known as Samudrik Rishi. He has a compilation of Samudrika Shastra 5,000 years ago. It was compiled. It has clear demarcations of the dermatoglyphics research which has been done by the modern scientists, and probably the base starts from there. See, we are all born with our innate
Sorry.
or inborn maps of life,
Mhm.
and our maps are on the tips of a fingerprint.
Oh,
The tip
that's
of your
really
finger,
that's
yes,
really
they are
interesting.
actually, yes, they are your actual maps
Mhm.
of your capacities, of your inclinations, of your preferences. Now, the study of this is what we call dermatoglyphics. It's a part of anthropology. And if you
Mhm.
study it in detail, one can actually find out the innate inclinations, capabilities, capacities, basic nature, personality, behavioral personality,
Yeah,
learning modalities, so many factors about a human being. That how would
yeah.
somebody respond or react in an emergency when a subconscious mind is working?
Mhm.
It's a very valid science, and the accuracy factor, what I have understood in the last 11 years, is that it is more than 98%. Now, a human profiling with 98% plus
Percent. Yeah.
accuracy, uh, brilliant. It's amazing. And
Right.
so many scientists and research scientists have worked over it
Mhm.
for years. 200 years of Western researches are available
Mhm.
on, on the internet or Google, and there are various compilation. Now, the fingerprints has three basic streams.
Mhm.
Fingerprint analysis is used in forensics. We all know about it.
Yeah, we
Criminology,
J.
the police department trying to find and identify individuality of people, because no two fingerprints are alike, and
Right.
none of us are alike. We are all
Very
individuals.
true. Very true.
The second aspect of fingerprint analysis works in the medical field. There are a lot of researches available where people are using fingerprint analysis or dermatoglyphics to understand neurogenetic disorders, lifestyle, behavioral disorders. Even the general medical practitioners, they are using it for uh, understanding and predicting certain conditions, medical conditions that may happen at a later age. Now, there are many research papers available, and they're very valid. And the third
Mhm.
aspect of fingerprint analysis or dermatoglyphics is uh, capability and capacity and behavioral. That is what we work on. That is our specialization. And through this, we can find out at any age and any stage of life uh, what a person is all about and what they would prefer, where they can excel, where they can do better.
Mhm.
And it is not dependent or influenced by language, region, literacy barriers, because
Right.
you just need to capture the fingerprint and you need to study that. There's no
Mhm.
feedback required. So even somebody is not academically proficient, then it doesn't mean that you can't test that person or analyze that person. Just see the fingerprints.
That sounds so interesting, Just through
Yeah.
fingerprints, we can know everything about our innate qualities. And I think it's required in today's society also, in today's scenario also. And it is going to benefit so many people if at the early age, even the parents know about what their child is, what his innate qualities he has. Accordingly, they can nurture the child. What do you have to say on this, like for the parents?
Yeah, absolutely. Because see, the current times, everything is becoming so competitive. There's
Right,
no the space for average aspect of life.
right.
One needs to have that individuality.
Mhm.
See, as if you can see, we can go back in history. There was a time where all of us were put into a school system which still exists, And that school system actually turns out people with a specific bent of mind, how well they are able to retain and basically bring it out, and that is what makes you successful in the school system. So the school system was derived to create people who could do replication or duplication of work, or can just follow instructions. And that is what we all of us have become. We have become like, we are all in the same bracket, trying to do things in a similar way and competing with each other. We are in a rat race of trying to prove a point. Jabki when we were born, each one of us are born as an individual, not a copy of anyone. So why do we need to compete? And like you said, the school system of the children is so relevant. If you look at any parent, every parent, the most prized possession for them is their child.
Yes.
And that child, they want to do anything and everything possible. And because of that love and because of that enthusiasm, they end up putting the child into anything and everything that is possible. So, they will put him or her in horse riding, football, cricket, music, yoga,
I know.
anything that they can think of.
Most
Now,
of a
what
trial and
happens?
error method that we are using.
Absolutely.
We want to try everything
Absolutely.
out, and if he succeeds, then
Absolutely.
it goes forward.
Absolutely. And what happens? It creates a stress for the child, because the child is very young. That age, you need to be very careful. Don't overburden your child. So the child gets stressed, and during the course, somewhere they develop an aversion to certain things which they find difficult in doing. And probably if you make your child do 8, 10 things separately and at the same time, probably what they are doing regularly, which is the academic aspect, probably then they start moving away from it, or probably can develop an aversion. Okay, so one has to be very careful. And if at that age you come to know that my child would enjoys doing something with his upper body, like using his hand or her hand, you can put that child into a spot where you're using rackets or where the upper body is utilized more. See, the basic philosophy here is, all of us as a society have been conditioned to believe that what you're not able to do well, focus on that. What you are actually able to do well, nobody tells you to practice it, because they say, you can do this so well. Why you need to focus there? Now, that is where we go wrong. Because if there is a natural inclination that something that we are able to do well, means it is somewhere connected to our innate capacities. And like the brain works, and like every body part works, if you don't use it, it becomes redundant. If you don't use it, if you don't practice or do certain things on a regular basis, your capacity or capability to do that activity goes down. So even if you're born with a high capability and capacity and you don't focus there, probably that might come down to an average level. And something which is naturally low, and you keep focusing. Yeah, so you can maximum take it to an average.
Yeah, I can see, like in today's scenario, when a lot of online things are happening, so people are not getting, they were so good in some of the students who had this physical activities, they were very physically active and they were good in sports. Now, because of the entire scenario being shut down, they are not being able to practice. So even if it's in your innate quality and you're not practicing it, so it can it can go down. But when you start practicing, then you pick up very quickly, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Once you start practicing it, because there are some people I've seen, even if during the lockdown, I've seen them doing their physical practicing and all that, because that is also not there in every child. That kind of enthusiasm, that kind of a passion. In few you will see, yes, there is a passion. In few you will see there is no passion. They want to do it, but then they can't do it. So what would you like to say, is that also connected with innate qualities?
Absolutely. See, something that I can do or I want to do, there are two aspects to human being. None of us are born with all the knowledge.
Right.
right? We are born with a potential to acquire and to learn. And the learning happens from the environment, from parents, from teachers, from a natural environment. We pick up so many things.
Right.
That's the learning for life.
Right.
So all the things that we pick up easily are somewhere where our innates for that is high. That learning will happen naturally. Now, what is happening is uh, in the current situation, like, I like to speak about this current situation, the lockdown, the pandemic. A lot of us have actually started losing our confidence and started believing that I know my capacities have gone down, especially children,
Children,
because see,
yes.
they are not in the campus.
Yeah.
Physical activity is restricted. They are within closed doors. Now, our mental alertness, physical activity, and exposure to nature are the two contributing factors which enhance our mental alertness and our ability to, retain and recall. And with that not happening, children, whatever they are trying to learn, first and foremost, that's a screen, what they're learning from. There's no personal, and something which was a part and parcel of a belief system, that the kind of learning in physical classrooms, physical interaction, it's a need by humans. It's a basic human need.
Right.
And the young children, who are growing up in this environment, they need to somehow create a connect, the interpersonal connect, and the physical activity. Even if they're not allowed to go out in the field or public places, try and create some kind of a high intensity physical activity for yourself within your house. Go on the roof and do that, because these things will actually bring back your alertness, your capabilities to retain, recall, and these things are very important in your learning. Now, if you are able to decipher your innate, it becomes very easy for the parents, for young children, to plan their child's nurture. That
Right.
where we should send him or her, what is the way the child will learn best, what is the preferred mode of learning for the child, so they can start giving them more learning for life in that mode. What is the emotional need of the child, how the child would basically wants to feel more emotionally secure, because at young children that emotional security is so required. And through this analysis, you can actually find out what works best with them to make them emotionally secure, because once they are emotionally secure, everything else starts falling in place. They would respond, they would get interested in doing things. The moment there's a gap in the emotional security, a lot of other things go for a toss. And then we start getting worried, my child is not doing that, my child is not social, my child is not responding. The reason lies somewhere else. It has nothing to do
Right.
with you, what you see. You need to go back to the innate and see, is your child getting the environment the child needs? Because the child may be your child. That child is an individual, is not a
I
copy of
know.
you.
I know.
You
I
need to
got it done.
respect.
In fact, I got
Yeah.
when I got my son's this report done, assessment done. So I got a lot of understanding. Being a mother, of course, I had a lot of understanding about him. But then there were few more things that I got through it. Of course, what his personality is all about, and does he like to be with people, or he is more focused towards his task. So all these things were clear, and what are his innate intelligences. So accordingly, I got a time to plan for his activities and started giving him more exposure that side. So yeah, I can really relate with what you are talking, because being a parent, for I have two kids and I got it done for both my kids, and in fact all of us have got this thing done, and it's given us so much of clarity, and so much of acceptance has come, and now we are of course focusing on their strengths, and also we are trying to overcome what their weaknesses are all about. So we all are bundle of strength and weaknesses, but yes, the awareness,
Absolutely.
our awareness is one thing. When we are aware, we can work on it. So I was really, really thrilled when I got both the children got this assessment done, and then my husband and me, both of the one of us has got it. And so now I'm since then, it's been almost in 2015 I got it done, and it's been so long that we've been continuing, and we have been spreading this awareness to different schools also. With your support and with all your guidance, so we are just going forward. And in today's scenario, when the new policy has also come up for schools, so would you like
Yes.
to throw a little light how the schools now can make it a part of their process, and how they can help children with this science?
Absolutely, absolutely. See, the oldest model where this system is adapted or in a school system is 9 years ago, and they still have it as a part and parcel of, and it's a part of the academic system, where the school profiles the children when they get in at the prep level, and the first level of interaction happens with their parents to apprise them that what your child is all about and how is a preferred mode of handling your child, so there's no stress created for that child.
Mm,
School also understands each child is different, and
mm,
from class 1 onwards the class sections are divided based on the learning interest or learning
mm,
modality of each child. So we don't change any, you don't need to change any curriculum. Only thing is the mode of, you group them together and the preferred mode of teaching. Only
mm,
the one of that aspect is increased, like, auditory, visual, or kinesthetic. We already
mm,
have that in the academic system, but who needs what? That is the biggest confusion, and that is where this system helps. This
mm,
profiling helps.
mm,
Second, with the new education policy, where the focus is student-centric education rather than teaching-centric education. What I want to share, it is now what the child needs, what the student needs. Focus is shifted. And there's a lot of focus on the learning capacities, capabilities, learning speed of each child. Now, if you use the feedback system on young children, it will not work because their cognitivity is not developed
yeah.
enough to be able to give their answers. So if you
Mm,
ask them, the second method is observation. Now it then gets dependent on the teacher, how good is his or her observation skill. If it is not high, because everybody is different, then probably
mm,
those observations may not be accurate, and probably we may do errors in how we
mm,
are handling those young children. So this
mm,
kind of a profiling, the innate profiling, the fingerprint analysis profiling, gives you absolute accurate information on that about each child. So that becomes, that information is so valid. Number two, with the multidisciplinary learning
mm,
in the new education policy, now the existing systems, existing aptitude tests that we have, we also create and we also offer,
yeah, yeah,
but they are stream centric. They are with fixed subjects and fixed streams. With the multidisciplinary education policy, today you can choose psychology with maths, or you can
yeah,
choose physics with humanities subject, with history.
yeah,
So you can create your own combination. It becomes confusing if you go for aptitude tests because they are still on those fixed streams. With the new
mhm,
education policy, this analysis will actually guide, because this does not work on fixed streams. This
yeah,
works on individual skills and specific skills. I'll give
mhm,
an example. For example,
mhm,
the kinesthetic or your upper body defined kinesthetic skills, how good you can be with your upper limbs, that's hand,
mhm,
will be very useful for an artist also, and will
yeah,
be very useful for a surgeon also.
right,
So you understand your skills and where you want to apply that skill, you would have a choice. There's no
right,
fixed stream. So
right,
this kind of analysis really helps schools in guiding their students. And when the right guidance is given at the right stage, the learning of the child enhances. The interest of the child is better because there's no resistance. There is no
mhm,
sense of fear that I can't do this, or I'm not able
right,
to answer, I'm not able
yeah,
to understand because there's something wrong with me. Because when you are giving every child an information based on their preferred mode of learning, you are
mhm,
giving them based on what that group of students need, how they need. the learning, the teaching learning process becomes interesting and much more acceptable by both parties. It makes life easier for the teachers. The
Right.
gap between the top performer and the last performer of the class reduces substantially because each child is different. There's
Yes.
nothing like a child who's not capable. Each
Everyone.
one of us has our own
Yes.
capability.
Very
Now,
true.
another very important aspect is that with the new education policy, there is a focus on that vocational skills, because it helps people with employability. How do you choose a vocational skill, or how do you guide a child to pick up a vocational skill? Now, it's a big challenge because you
Yeah.
need to start it from class 6. Any
Hmm.
feedback system will not work, because a child is basically what child does. They make the decisions based on if their elder, the teacher, the parent, whoever is their favorite, will they get impressed by it? Will they, if I choose this, they will be happy? That is how the children decide. So it becomes very difficult, in the current situation. This kind of analysis actually gives you an absolute clarity that which skill development a child can start from that young age,
Yeah.
the vocational choice of vocational subject. And it would help that child right through their school life, their college life, in making the right decision, in enjoying a stress-free learning, and adapting that knowledge to use it later in their professional life. And
Right.
this kind of an analysis is only once in a lifetime. It's never to be repeated because our fingerprints don't change.
Yeah, that's
Only
right.
thing is that you need to do at every age and stage of life is that you need to consult a trained professional and do a counseling on your report. Because if your report is done, analysis is done at 10 years of age or 6 years of age, your need and your requirement to know about yourself at 24 would be very different, or
Very,
19 would be very different, or at 40 would be very different. So
very
the same report would give you
true.
a clarity and a guidance at that age and stage of life. So it's a once in a lifetime,
Yeah,
can be
so
consulted and
actually,
counseled many
actually,
times.
actually, people just
Yeah,
need to get it once in a lifetime, and it's going to help them throughout their life, whatever stage they are at. And later
yeah,
on, they
and
want to get into any specialized courses, anything. They just need to get in
absolutely.
touch with the, expertise, and they can take a counseling, and
I
that will help.
absolutely. I must add here, no, because with the recent victory, the gold medal in the Olympics,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Indian gold medal, the first individual athlete event gold medal.
yeah.
Now there will be a lot of parents who would get keen that they want to put their children in sports or athletics. You need to understand if it's an innate inclination or innate capability or capacity, that child can actually excel and can be a medal winner for the country. So if you
Right.
do the profiling at an early age, you can actually find the sporting acumen of the child. You can
Yeah.
also decide and find out which kind of sport, individual, group sports, or team sports, or track and field events, or anything else like shooting or archery, where the child can do better. Horse riding, we have helped.
So mute हो गया आपका. Can you unmute yourself? It's gone on mute.
And that really helps. That really
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
wonderful,
I
it's
must add, Bhavana, before we go, there's so much
uh-huh.
I like to talk about.
I know, I can
It's
see
really
that.
never ending.
Because such a
Uh,
passionate thing that you are
yes,
associated with. That's why.
absolutely. I'm very passionate about it. The thing is that it helps even the grown-ups, all the grown-ups who would see this video.
Mm.
Believe me, it can make your life better, because
Yes.
relationship issues,
Yeah.
your handling your stress, what
Mm.
gives you that stress-free environment, what works for you in de-stressing yourself, what you can do to enhance the outcomes of what you are actually doing, and how you can
Mm.
do it better. It is such an insight, and it gives you that guidance, because it gives you those solutions.
Yeah.
So
So,
I
I've
would recommend,
seen, yeah, I've seen sometimes parents, they come, they get it done for their children, but then they find it so interesting. They say, we also want to like to know about ourselves, because we are also, as an individual, I would like to know more about myself. So they end up getting their, analysis done also. So I can really relate with it. So last, what is the, like I understand is everyone should go through it, whether at individual level they should do it, or at the schools can take it up, corporates can take it up, anyone and everyone can take it up and connect with their innate,
Absolutely.
they should know about their innate and how they can further be less stress free, and how they can overcome also the stress, because in today's life everything is related to stress only. So, and again we have so much dimensions, means so much we can find out from this
Absolutely.
single report. So I would also like to request our audience to get in touch, and as if you're not aware, now this is the awareness that you've got through, and you should get this analysis done as early as possible. And we have, you know, the counselors also. I am one of the one, and I've been trained with Mr. Azim only. He has really, really helped me because I liked it. I got it done for my children. I liked it. And I just took the training and everything from him, and I've been also taking it from so many years. So it's, we will request you to get in touch with us and get this analysis done as early as possible. And the second thing I would like to ask Mr. Adam, what would the last message you would like to give to the audience, or any case study which you feel was very different and eye opener? I know every case study is eye opener for the parents and for us also. We also learn when we are also counseling so many different personalities. But anything that you remember and you would like to talk about it to our
Yeah,
audience?
yeah. There are so many, Bhavna, because
Yeah, I
each
know.
person who comes in is an individual.
Very true.
We have been fortunate to help people with different things. There are many stories. The one most prominent is that, I met a gentleman who's a star celebrity in the legal system.
Oh.
And it came out that, legal was not the preferred. So it was
Mhm.
sheer hard work that made him reach there. And
Okay.
I am the second person to know about it after him. So I can't take names. And
Right, right.
another was that, stressed parents, they brought in their child who had a typical behavioral pattern.
Mm.
We have got many, but, typical behavioral pattern. We have got children who have self-harming tendencies,
Right.
suicidal tendencies, and even that was analyzed and assessed from this assessment. And we were
Mm.
able to guide the parents, not that be careful, how you need
Mm.
to handle, what are the triggers for this child, where the child would get into that mode at any stage of life. So, it is satisfying. It gives us enough happiness when we see people finding the solutions.
Mm.
And it's not, we don't do it as a business, but end of the day, it has to be self-sustainable. But the fact is, it's the outcomes which drives my passion to push this forward. In fact,
Yeah.
I really wanted this kind of a drive in our country, or in fact in the world, where let's connect with our innate, the like, let's find our innate drive. Believe me,
Right.
life could be so happy, successful, less stressful, and we would excel in what we are
Very true.
doing, and it would be so happy. Life could be so happy. We have a like, a science available.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because people still want to go in for traditional aspects and belling the cat.
Mm.
Who bells the cat? That kind of an
Mm.
attitude. The people have apprehensions, rightly so, because there are a lot of genuine and a lot of ingenuine stuff happening around in the society.
Mm.
Everybody would be concerned that how something so simple, how can you
Mhm.
find so much about
So
yourself
much
so
about
simply? So
yourself.
there,
Yeah, yeah,
it raises a doubt. But
yeah.
believe me, it works. And before I finish, I like to give a message to the corporates also, like, because when you're hiring and
Mm.
you need to find the right talent, because end of the day, each organization is the kind of people it has. So getting the right people on board,
Mm.
uh, this is the best solution for HR.
Mm.
Believe me, it gives you absolute accurate, because I may portray I can do this because I need the job, but
Right.
actually where I can fit in your organization, you can actually find out through this analysis. Before
Mm.
we end this, I want to give a message to everyone. Uh, be an individual. You are born to be an individual and not a copy of anyone. If you try to become a copy, that I want to be like that, believe me, you will always be trailing behind that person because you are copying that person. You're not that original. Follow your own originality, polish yourself. You have it in you to be successful, to shine out there. You just need to find out what would make you shine. And that is where we come in. The innate analysis is so important. All the best.
Thank you, Mr. Azam.
Yeah,
It was such a wonderful
lots of
talk.
success to everyone.
And I think we will create a lot of awareness in the society so that more and more people can connect and know about their innate qualities. And that would make their life so simple and so stress-free, isn't it? So that's why I see
Absolutely.
you always smiling, and probably I'm also like, when we know about ourselves, so why, take a stress and just live what you are born with, and just enhance that and work with that. So thank you so very much. I'm really, really grateful you took out time for us, and hope we are able to spread more and more such education to students, to parents, to schools, so that everyone connects with their image. Thank you so very much. Had a
Thank
lovely,
you and
lovely
all the
session
best.
with you. Thank you so much.
Likewise, likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.